Hello there, my name's Card, and today I just want to briefly talk about a relatively obscure reactionary dog whistle. Today specifically, I wanted to talk about the word sneed.
Cardposting. Quite an interesting individual. However, a lot of his antics are not well documented, so I felt it necessary to make a video on him. Cardposting is an anarchist and an egoist. In fact, he's such an egoist that he often cosplays as Max Stirner. The type of videos that Cardposting likes to make the most is his dog whistle series, the favorite of which would be the Sneed video. Most recently though, Card has gotten himself into exposing Joshua Moon for being a My Little Pony fan. I always knew there was something off about Josh. I just thought he was gay, but a brony? Brony's where I draw the line. This brings me to the video that kind of kicked off the whole thing, which is Card's video about friends being a dog whistle. Card's video sent a CrumbTube React streamer, Alec Gunter, on a estrogen-induced rage at the implication that his heckin' doggerino memes were actually reactionary dog whistles. If you don't know who Alec Gunter is, he is mostly known for being raped by Destiny on the white liberal versus black conservative Jubilee video. And despite Destiny being there, Alec Gunter was somehow the most hated person on the panel. It's just too bad Alec doesn't know that you need to be likable to be a successful content creator. Klaus Schwab is not sending his best. Card, as a response to Alec's transgressions, makes a video saying that the Nazis are in fact inside of his walls, using an ADL article as proof. It is rumored that Leo Frank rapes another kid every time a leftist cites the ADL. Card spends the last part of his video calling Alec a slack-jawed, soy, new male bugman. Pure Kino. Out of all the alleged serial rapists that I know, you, Card, are one of the good ones. In a fit of feminine rage, Alec broke his Baby Yoda Funko Pop. Calling him a slack-jaw was taking it too far. Alec would make sure that Card would pay for making him break his favorite Funko Pop. He takes a handful of his Mountain Dew flavored, mildly roasted crickets before firing up his stream. He's gonna prove once and for all that Card is bad optics for the left. Alec starts off his stream with Card's video deconstructing cis heteronormativity for fun and clout. He never disagrees with anything that Card says, even when Card heavily implied that you should identify as a woman if you want to get into the woman's restroom. He just screams about how that's bad optics and that no one would ever do that, even though Card basically said that he would do that if he wanted to. Alec then critiques Card's grammar in his novella. Mr. Gunter would be considered a superhero if being a redditor was considered super or heroic.
He's so confident in his writing, isn't he? Confidant is a words too. Oh, okay.
Consult the fucking dictionary, bitch!
After embarrassing himself multiple times, Alec decides to insinuate that Card is a pedophile for the mild content presented in his story. Honestly, it says more about you, Alec, than it does Card.
Yeah, it's nice to see the younger generation really throwing it back, you know what I mean?
He then claims that Card is a kiwi farmer. Who cares? He acts like he completely confirmed that Charles Nguyen is Card, but he lacks hard evidence. Alec also mispronounces Nguyen as in Nguyen. Presumably this is because none of his wife's bulls are Asian. Anyway, Alec finally does something interesting for once, and shows a source of someone talking about how Card has attempted to rape multiple people. It would appear that Card has upgraded himself from an anarcho-communist to an anarcho-rapist. The only thing is that his source is anonymous. Amazing credibility. Supposedly this was someone in a tenant union that Card was a part of. And if my memory serves me right, it was the tenant union of New South Wales. For me, at least, the bar needs to be a little bit higher to believe rape allegations like these. This is where a cute little lesbian enters the story.
Can I kiss you? Gonna rail that retard pussy.
Harmful Opinions was originally known for exposing Candid, along with other YouTubers who accepted their sponsorships. But recently, he's become an ally, and now exclusively reacts to LGBTQIA+ content.
Boys, men having sex with each other in the relative privacy of the night. They
Can't even fuck a kid in private anymore, bro. Why is it every time I try to watch something that isn't pedophilia, like I go to try to watch anything LGBT and it's always pedo?
Whatever you do, never ask Mr. Opinions about what happened at JebCon. Harmful, aware of the feud between Alec and Card, had quite the bone to pick with Alec. You see, this was around the time that Vosh showed off his Cunny collection. And while Alec was saying that Card was bad optics for the left, Alec was running defense for Anime Epstein. Eggman, in his good faith discussion with Alec, exposed Alec's double standards. But in all honesty, the true highlight of the dialogue was when Alec came out as a child porn expert.
Do you think Vosh's drawn child is better optics than what Card wrote?
I don't think that it was child.
Cartoon child.
No, I don't think it was.
Cartoons of little girls getting f***ed by adults.
No, I don't think that that's what was in the folder.
That's your judgment having seen it.
They were all marked as 18+.
Thanks to Gooners on 4chan, this claim that Alec makes is provably false. A month goes by and Card finally slaps back with an hour and 20-minute response. And it blows more dick than Destiny. First, Card claims that Alec is harassing him, which isn't much of a stretch given how many times Alec emailed him, with some of the emails even sounding like blackmail. We started off strong until Card claims that Alec lied about trying to get in contact with him via 4chan. As stupid as this is, he's wrong. Alec did in fact try to contact Card via 4chan. Also, if you're trying to prove that Alec is harassing you, why would you claim he's exaggerating about how much he tried to contact you? Card then claims that Alec lied about trying to contact him through Instagram. I can't say for sure, but given how dumb Alec is, I wouldn't doubt that he just messed up trying to hit the send button on Instagram. If you don't understand why Card is continuing to break down his harassment claim, it's because he's trying to, and failing, to build a case that Alec is a big fat liar. Second, Card puts forth his theory that Alec feels inferior to the John David Card, since, unlike Alec, he's a real political organizer, because he writes about big holes in the ground. You'd think, with how much Card sucks himself off, that YouTube allows demonstrations of autofellatio. Third, Card claims he doesn't go on kiwi farms. In fact, he doesn't go on it so much he doesn't even know how to go on it. We'll get back to that later. Fourth, Card claims to not have a public Discord, and that all screenshots of him on Discord are not him. This is a straight up lie. There are quite a few instances where he posts his Discord publicly to 4chan. Fifth, Card makes fun of Alec's theory that he wants to start a trans sex cult. Sixth, Card claims that because of Alec's video that he has received violent threats in his email. He shows no evidence of this for some reason. Seventh, Card claims that Alec is not coherent in his insults, flip-flopping between calling Card a woke skull liberal and calling him a sex cultist. Little does Card know that there is no inherent contradiction, but often end up together. Many such cases. The irony of this part is that Card actually is the one who contradicts himself. First claiming that Alec was only pretending to be offended, and then claiming that being called a slackjaw is Alec's trigger phrase. Eighth, Card claims that he listened to all of Alec's criticism. Card explicitly says that he didn't watch the full video. You'll likely notice that in that whole 1 hour and 20-minute video, Card never brings up the rape allegations. I'm sure if you bring it to Card's attention, he'll claim that he didn't know that Alec made such allegations, because he didn't watch the whole video. And I'm sure if you inquire more about these allegations, Card will say that he did a good enough job proving that Alec is unreliable and has a pattern of lying. And this would be the point where I bring up that Card privated his Instagram and argue how this proves that Card knows about the allegations. But I don't even have to do that because Card made another video about Alec Gunter. And in this video he shows a debate between Mr. Gunter and Mr. Opinions. That discussion between the two was mostly about Card's rape allegations, which means that there is no way that Card doesn't know about them, which means he spent another 40 minutes not addressing them. In other news, Card insinuates that Kuihman is a pedophile using clips he cut out of context. After slandering Kuihman, the two of them hop on a call where Card walks back everything that he said and actually claims he did it to show that Kuihman's optics are bad. If I cut you out of context about what you said on a taboo subject, I can make you look bad.
Yes, no question. Just yeah. I don't think I edited anything to make it sound like you were saying something you weren't. I don't think I was praised. That's sort of like the problem I had with Alec Gunter when he was just lying about me and all stuff like Titan.
So you were looking to make more YouTube drama content? Is that what I'm understanding from like the start of your video? And
I don't really want to do, drama or disagreement or argument. It takes a lot of time for one thing, and it's not necessarily like fun. Do my whatever.
The Discord ping. Truly, the white man ceiling bird. I think it's funny that Kuihman believes the absolute BS that Card was spitting, likely assuming that Card is an honest person. But he is definitely not. Isn't it fascinating that he said he wasn't interested in doing drama content? Well, that didn't last long, because 4 months later, after making many other drama videos, he decides to go after their supreme feeder. You'd think with an exposed video like this, he'd started off by referring to Jewsh as I-bands. As part of his first piece of evidence that Jewsh is a brony, he claims that there is a lack of brony threads on the farms. This is simply not true. There is a brony mega thread that isn't very hard to find, and threads dedicated to certain bronies are still up on the site. His second piece of evidence is that Jewsh knows what a derpy hooves is. Likely because you learn a lot about people you make fun of. But Jewsh's explanation is that MLP was quite big on the internet in the 2010s. It was basically an escape capable. And he's definitely got a point there. I could even play Gmod back in the day without coming across a few hundred bronies. Card's third piece of evidence is that Mr. Potter never criticized Christian for being a brony. I'm not gonna go out of my way to check this, but because everything else about him was much worse, and that is the least interesting thing about Chris. I mean, not too long ago, Noel had a segment on Mad the Internet where he makes fun of a brony. Truly, Card is a fake fan. I bet he doesn't even know about the anime sucks Cope and Sneed lore. Anyway, here's the part you've all been waiting for. Now, who are the people that spread this lore about Card? I would like you to know their credibility. Their usernames are Ren, Flux, Snurly, Zimmers, and Bagel, who I believe is the big dog of the group, and is also a crackhead. Surely we only have the most credible sources on this case. According to the Card lore, he is a Mormon author, trans chaser. John David Card is not his real name. He moved from Utah to Australia after he transitioned to male. He constantly starts trouble in the community, has frequent rape fantasies, and supposedly acted out said fantasies. They also claim he leaks, compiles, and generates AI nudes of multiple trans folks on the board and posts them to B. Because, as we all know, B loves their dick girl porn. Given the credibility of the lore keepers, I think it's best if we do a little fact checking when it comes to these claims, along with showing some other interesting aspects of Card. Card is obviously Mormon and an author. This one is true, of course. Card has been spotted trying to get with many trans individuals on 4chan, so this one is likely true. For the claim that he moved from Utah to Australia and transitioned to male, I was unfortunately unable to find much solid evidence for this claim. Looking up his name in the phone book comes up with someone who is Mormon and lives in Utah. However, they're in their 60s, and Card is 25, and again, he probably wouldn't be going by John David Card before he transitioned. It is possible that he assumed his father or grandfather's name when he transitioned, but we're just coming up with stories for what are very flimsy allegations. However, when it comes to the claim that he transitioned to male, there are quite a few posts of him anonymously calling himself a female to male. These are obviously Card given his habit of constantly promoting his channel, a sort of unique identifier that lets us know when it's Card that is posting when he's not using his trip. There's also posts of him bragging about how much he passes as a male while making his friends call him by they. On the claim that he likes to start trouble in communities, there's a post where he straight up just says there is no greater joy for him than causing problems. He also asks if that kind of behavior is male-brained or female-brained. Do I sense a hint of insecurity about your gender? That doesn't sound very natal male to me. Now on to whether or not Card has raped anyone is something I am unable to prove, but what I can offer you is a further exploration to Card's history. That way we could build a sort of personality profile that can tell us how likely he would be to rape someone. If Card consistently shows respect for the personal autonomy and consent of others, even when he believes he's anonymous, then it's pretty safe to throw these allegations right out the window. Especially since the only people pushing these allegations are a spiteful crumb tuber, a tenant union that is unwilling to come forth publicly about them, and 4chan crackheads. And this is the point where I say that him being an anarchist works in his favor, so long as if he actually believes in anarchism and isn't just social posturing among his leftist friend groups. This is because anarchism is actually built off the values of consent and personal autonomy. However, there does seem to be a group of people out there who call themselves anarchists but do not actually believe in anarchist values, and actually tend to have higher chances of being sexual predators. In fact, some kid from Kenosha shot blindly into a crowd of these social posturing anarchists, and 2 of the 3 people he shot were sexual predators. And I have good reason to believe that Card doesn't actually hold anarchist values. For example, in a video response to one of Joshua Moon's articles, Card added a comment about how the banks in the United States are lightly regulated. First off, the statement on itself is completely asinine. No, banks are not lightly regulated. They're up there with being one of the most regulated industries. Second off, you're supposed to be an anarchist. Any amount of government regulation is too much regulation. Another example of Card contradicting his beliefs would be his views on exclusionary spaces. You know, Card, voluntary association is a core tenet of anarchism. You know what? You get an extra point on the likely rapist scoring for that. Believing you should have the right to force yourself into spaces you are not welcome in? Very rapey. If you'd like to learn more about voluntary association and its logical conclusions, you should read Hans Hermann Hoppe's book, Democracy, The God That Failed. There's even a part in there that shows you the best methods for pleasuring women.
I was also a Kant expert. I wrote my dissertation about Kant.
With tips like these, maybe you'll be able to pull bodies like Card. Just consensual this time. Speaking of Riz, it is part of the 4chan lore that Card leaks nudes of people he knew. In fact, there's actually a recording of him using his trans manipulation techniques to extract nudes from Ren. Here it is.
I want to see your boobs. Send me. Send me. I want to see your boobs. I want to see.
Oh my goodness, well with Riz like that, who could resist sending this guy nudes? In any case, that claim about him leaking nudes is true. Here's a post of him committing such activities. You can tell it's him due to the image and file name being attention-grabbing image, which is another unique identifier of Card. He loves using it. He's the only one that uses this image with the MD5 hash and file name, meaning that this has to be Card. Along with that, he advocates the use of violence against those he politically disagrees with. Remember that the next time he begs for money from you kiwi farmers. Speaking of kiwi farms, did you know that Alec, despite not showing much evidence for it, was actually right when he came to the conclusion that Card owned this kiwi farms account? I can prove it. You see, the farms account, Charles Nguyen, posted a screenshot of his pooner bit, which means we can look up the file names of these images on the 4chan archives and see who is posting these. If we can find Card posting a lot of these images, then we'll have enough linking metadata to show that Card lied about not having a kiwi farms account. But what I discovered was actually more substantial. When he references memes he got from the mega thread, these were the specific threads that he was talking about. While some of the images did match their original file names, many were not present. Moreover, many of the images with their file names appear to be single-use posts, typically used to promote Card's content, a unique identifier for Card as previously discussed. This means the likelihood of Card being Charles is virtually 100%. The probability of Charles and Card being two separate people is extraordinarily low, essentially impossible. Like, gosh dang man, was there a single thing you said that was honest in that video? Speaking of dishonesty, before the big blow up with the other LGBT trip friends, Card actually was scamming the good men of Australia with Ren. Is it cool if I use those pics you sent me to catfish guys, by the way?
No, Card, what the fuck? No!
Oh, okay.
We joke around, but dead serious, no, that's not okay.
I wouldn't do it without your permission.
That's weird. Don't ask girls to do that.
I didn't expect you to be so anti-catfishing, to be honest. Scamming people online is cool. I'm willing to split the profit with you if that's what you're concerned about.
How much profit?
If you actually know who Card is, this should come as no surprise to you, as he's been scamming for a while now. But that was before he went by Cardposting. That was when he went by 76207. You see, that name carries a lot of weight on B. According to Gideon H, 76207 back in the day was the most notorious scammer in B threads. Typically, he would scam traders by asking for a game key in exchange for items. But instead, he would redeem the key, then cancel the trade, thus leaving the other trader with nothing. Here's an example where a user is trying to do a key for key, and after giving Card his key, Card ghosted him. There's even a post of him trying to exchange games for pictures of his tits. More proof of him being a female than male, maybe. But in all honesty, if you feel for that, I can't feel bad for you. At some point, it's your fault for getting raped. And running down a dark alleyway butt-ass naked with "rape me" written on your forehead is where I draw the line. It is honestly amazing that he hasn't gotten his Steam account banned yet, considering the amount of times he's done this. Although this is less rapey than some of the other stuff that he's done, it still adds to the pattern of him violating the consent of others. After all, according to Card, he sees no point in believing in anything other than he can do what he wants. Now, whether or not that applies to rape is another matter entirely. His complete disregard for boundaries and the casual way he dismisses voluntary association reveals a deeply troubling mindset that goes far beyond simple trading scams and online manipulation. These actions are not isolated incidents, but part of a systematic approach of treating individuals as objects to be used rather than people. His pattern of behavior suggests a fundamental lack of empathy and respect for others, in both digital and physical spaces. Even though there is no proof, I surely would not be surprised if he did attempt to rape anyone. But with everything else I found, it does not paint a pretty picture of our dear Cardposting.
I can't listen to black people because they say the N-word so much. And if I hear someone saying it all the time, I'll just start saying it. So I have to cut black people out of all media. Or I start saying the N-word because they say it and then I just copy.